loved you so much that we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well.
You gonna take the chance and come follow him? Or you just gonna go back to what's comfortable?
I prefer a church which is bruised, hurting, and dirty because it has been on the streets, rather than a church which is unhealthy from being confined and from clinging to its own security.
So Dirty Vagabond's whole idea of transformation is that it's one. It's back to one person, it's back to one kid. And Christ, cares about the one.
Christ is the beginning of the transformation. They receive Jesus, and then it's starting to climb out of the life that they've been born into.
You did not choose me, but I chose you. And I appointed you that you would go and bear fruit. John 15:16.
Born is kind of a rare story. He's kind of a Paul.
I grew up Muslim. I was born Muslim. My dad was originally Muslim since he was 16. And mom was Christian until she met dad, and I guess he influenced her. By the time I turned 5, mom and dad split up. There is when things really started going bad because mom, she worked at a strip club. She was a bartender at a strip club. And so she would be gone every night. So it would just be us at the house alone at night. And we were in Virginia, so we would throw parties at the house and stuff. Until one night, the guys that usually come down the street, they came over, but the house was already full, so we locked it up. And then they called my sister out of her name, and then I started to fight him and stuff. I was 12, he was 16. 2 weeks later, I got jumped in the alley on my way home from school. It was a big mix-up, so that's when we moved back to Ohio because things got really rowdy. We thought it was gonna be some shooting because that's what usually happens after somebody jumps somebody and still gets beat up. They're no other choice but to shoot them, That's how it works out there.
I mean, he was a bad kid. I mean, he was shooting people, selling crack. He was the kind of kid that was either gonna end up dead in the next 2-3 years or in prison for the rest of his life.
We got back to Steubenville. I started gangbanging there because, I thought it was cool. That's what everybody else was doing. My little brother followed suit. I started going Dirty Vagabond because I heard there was a whole bunch of girls there because all the guys from the hood was going there. It was mad girls at the underground, come through, they serve food too. So I went there for the first time when it was downtown.
So you're telling me you went there for the girls and the food?
Yeah. It was first year California. Before we left, we had our adoration, and that's when I had my first encounter with God. It was in the Eucharist. I seen Jesus' face. I don't know what happened after that. It was just blah. I started crying and stuff. Have peace, be peaceful. Ever since then, it was just I'm all for Jesus now. Because I felt like that was the first experience of the true love of God that I ever got. It was the realest thing I ever imagined.
Most of the time that you see a kid change, that you experience transformation, it's real slow, and that's okay because that's natural. And with Born, I've only seen this a few times ever in the last 15 years or so in ministry, where it's just night and day.
I know I was able to make it because I totally cut off all the friends. I cut all them off instantly because I knew better now because I came here and I found out what was really right and how you're supposed to live life.
He is a new man, and he doesn't look back. First, I want change, I want new life, then I want to be Catholic, and then I want to be a saint. He talks about his draw to the saints all the time, and I'm convinced that he's going to be a saint. That's what he wants.
I definitely want to transcend among what's happening in Steubenville. I don't want to be the same person that I was back then or like anybody else. I want to be greater than anything I could imagine.
I think when you work with a nonprofit, there's a lot of times where your statistics are called up, or you're asked to show us on a on a flow chart or on a pie chart, or show us the statistics. Why should we give, or this or that? And the wild thing is when you see a life, that is Here, I can show you a face. I could let you talk to a person who shouldn't be here.
Where do you think your life would be if you hadn't showed up at the underground?
I'd be dead. I'd be dead. I would be dead. Like, I would be shot down by some other guy that was in a different gang. I'd be dead. I know it.
And here he is on the road to being a leader who's going to pull tons more kids into the faith, tons more kids out of the grave, tons more kids that should also be statistics. And it all starts just because someone in the church says, hey, that's not okay with me. You know, I'm going to enter in, I'm going to be a part, I'm going to get in the ring for that kid.
I went from like basically being 2 days away from dead to I'm alive, like I'm fully alive. Like nothing can stop me now. As long as I got God with me, nothing can stop me.
And not many people are in their corners. That's why they're losing. That's why they're constantly ending up in jail. That's why they're constantly ending up dead. That's why they're killing themselves or ending up in despair or they have nowhere else. You know, it's because there's no one else in the ring who's fighting for them. And the donor does that. They say, I'm getting in the ring. And that's why someone like Bourne made it.
There would be no Dirty Vagabond without the people who give their money financially. We know and believe that our donors not only give to us financially, but they pray for us. They pray for our missionaries, they pray for our kids. Those two things together is where the transformation happens.
Just like the shepherd going out to get the one sheep, you know, for us, there's a whole lot that are lost, you know.
We couldn't do it without the donors. We couldn't do it without people who know that in order for a kid's life to be completely transformed, it takes another person, another adult, to come and to be Jesus to them, to walk alongside of them, to walk up that mountain, to push them sometimes, to pull them sometimes, to be with them throughout the entire journey.
The simple donation can change me. Some guy that was in the streets, that was near dead, is now alive thanks to you. Thank you.